I think I actually did it. I'm not sure. Well, if you're seeing this, I'm Billy. This is Show and Tell. And I have attempted to go live before, sometimes without very much success. So this is a little bit of an experiment today because on Sunday, December 8th, I want to go live with guests who have been on my show previously. Some of them will come back and join me for a little holiday reunion. We've done it for the past 4 years. This will be the 5th year. And I'd like to go live so that I can take questions from the audience. So please pardon me if I am seeming a little awkward. I'm still trying to figure out where your comments would be if you're watching, if you're commenting. Oh boy, not off to such a great start here, huh? Well, you'll notice that I'm wearing a sweater from the past. I think I'm just going to forget about your comments. Maybe I can answer them later. This is Evening in Edinburgh by Casapinka. And I think my beret is Sarah Northern's Salut Chérie. Anyway, it's starting to get to be a little bit cooler and crisper in New York. So I brought out some of the woolies. Mainly, what I wanted to share with you today is a little bit of a recap of the last couple of things that I've done. So, you know, the blue and white ski sweater had a million ends to weave in. I was trying to have it ready for Rhinebeck, and I had an epic fail. It's done now. You could see it in the previous episode, but I neglected to show you all of the millions of ends that needed to be woven in. That took me 2 full days. Each of these little pieces is something that I snipped off after weaving in the end. You can see there are many, 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 many of them, mostly blue, because as I mentioned before, when I finished the solid row of white, I had to reconnect the blue at the other end and snip here and have a new tail here. So every time I introduced blue, I had 2 ends to weave in of blue. And of course, there's some white too. So I wanted to bring that back to show you. Also, you know, I was having a little bit of a contest of who could figure out how much yarn was left over. This is not all the yarn I have left over. I still have the other 2 cones, but these are the ones I most recently knit off of. I knit half of a pair of mittens. So this is my half finished object this week. Let me do the slow reveal. These are a classic Norwegian pattern. I'll show you the book in a minute. And it has my monogram on it. I haven't tucked the hem under yet, so I still have something dangling here. But let me show you the fit. They're just a delight. The mate will have the year of when I finish it. Also, I wanted to show you, this is what the pattern calls for. There's this sort of blue and white checkerboard situation, and then it goes back to the main motif for the tip of the thumb. That must be traditional. If anybody knows why that is, maybe it's just too hard to continue this pattern. Pattern is written in a very meticulous way. It's from this book by Johanna Wallen called Traditional Nordic Knits. And there's monogram, mitten, and sock. I will not be doing the socks. But anyway, it's from this book. So I will have a whole 3-piece ensemble, well, 4-piece, if you count the mittens as 2. I'll have 2 mittens when I'm done this, plus the hat with the big pom-pom, which I showed you, and the ski sweater. Well, I couldn't resist dipping into my freezer to one of the yarns that I have in isolation from the yarn sale that I went to a couple weekends ago. I really was jonesing to see how this yarn looked when it was knit up, because in the skein, it looks like this. And I couldn't really tell if it was going to be striping or watercolory. I didn't really know if it was going to pool. So I decided to start a cast on. This is not really what I wanted to have as my next project, because I'm really looking towards January when I'm going to do the red, black, and white sweater as part of the knit along. And by the way, there's plenty of time for you to still join onto the knit along. I will put the form, the registration form, in the show notes. If you don't happen to find it there, it's been in several of the previous shows. So I'd love to have you join me for that. But this sweater, let me share my screen so you can see a picture of what I am hoping to be making. Give me a second. Okay, hopefully you can see this sweater. It has a real Art Deco kind of feel to it. And because I haven't told you yet, but I was accepted into the October 2025 Paris World Congress on Art Deco, which will be celebrating the 100th centennial of the very famous 1925 Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes, which is the big event that put Art Deco on the map. Prior to that, we had Art Nouveau and other art forms, but Art Deco really traces its roots back to that exhibition. And I'm a longtime member of the Art Deco Society of New York and participated in the World Congress when it was here in Manhattan over a decade ago. So I was really hoping to be accepted to the Paris one, especially because this is a milestone year. But with only 200 spaces available, I was lucky to snag one. So anyway, all that to say, next year's Rhinebeck coincides with the time that I'll be in Paris. So unfortunately, I won't be at Rhinebeck, but I will be at Vogue Knitting Live in January 2025. Anyway, this sweater I would like to have finished in time to wear to Paris next October. And I thought I might cast on with this yarn for the bottom section and then do a solid color on the top. So I don't have very much knit, and I'm probably not going to work on this much for a while, but I just wanted to get a sense of how it knits up. So I know it's very little. Let me stop sharing so I can bring this to you larger. There's not so much here to see yet, but it's kind of very subtle kind of a striping, and the stripe is not clear cut. It's sort of watercolory. I think it's going to be very pretty. I'm not sure about whether I like this gauge, because I'm going to have to adapt the pattern. I'm using a size 3 needle, and I want a fabric that's really drapey. This may be a little bit too see-through. I don't have my gauge swatch handy, so I can't show it to you, but I might go down in needle size. I'll see. I did a provisional cast on, so I have not started with the ribbing. I'm starting where the sweater would be above the ribbing, and then I'll go back and do the ribbing when I see how it looks and where it hits me. Anyway, I just wanted you to see pretty colors. I'm having a tough time finding a solid color to coordinate with it because all the leftover things I have from Color Mart are just slightly off. They're not the right shade of mauve or sort of like a very pale peachy color in here. It's very hard to describe this melange of beautiful colors, but it's very heathery because it's got alpaca in it. I think it's alpaca and silk. The yarn is called Shimmer by Knit Picks. They still make shimmer, but they don't make it in colors. They only make it undyed now. Anyway, that's that. And quickly, let me grab my other project. I haven't done very much work on this since I was last with you for the Rink or the Links, but in case it's your first time here, the saga of this is I had knit the whole sweater using stranded knitting, and the fabric ended up being way too stiff for my comfort and fit. So I began pulling out segments of it and reknitting them. So the back is completely reknit. That's here. And the front is what I'm working on now using the intarsia method. So the front is partway done. I did a provisional cast on here as well. This is the remnants of the previous sweater. So when I rip it back to here, I will have live stitches of the ribbing that I can make the ribbing longer, or if I need to make it shorter, that's doubtful. So that's what I should be working on, but you know how that goes. There's other things that pull at you. Let me just check my list. I think I covered everything. Mitten, cast on. The holiday reunion. You know what, if I mentioned it, I'm sorry, I'm going to reiterate. December 8th. It'll be right around this time, 2:30 Eastern United States. So consult a time chart to find out what time that will be in your time zone. This is, a quick little episode, mainly because I wanted to see if going live was working. So far, so good. I think I'm probably going to leave you now, but maybe I can try and still see if there are any comments coming in from you. Let me try and go to that right screen. Oh. Bear with me another moment. I'm not sure just where to find this. Boy, if you've done this, I'd love for you to let me know how you accomplish it. Yeah, it says it's streaming. That's the good news. I don't know how to find your comments. Maybe in here. Give me one more second. I just don't know how to do that. Well, that's a bummer. I have to learn how to do that. Well, okay. Not to waste your time. Thanks so much for being here. If you're in the United States and you celebrate Thanksgiving, I want to wish all my viewers a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your turkey and all the trimmings, the stuffing and the sweet potatoes and the pumpkin pie and the cranberries and all that yummy, yummy goodness. If you're not in the United States, try and visit during this time of year. It's very festive and everything's starting to really heat up for Christmas. It started early this year. It started even before Halloween. Usually they let Halloween pass and going into Thanksgiving, it gears up. But this year I started seeing already on the internet commercials that are little Christmassy jingles. So earlier and earlier every year. Anyway, it is the holiday season, and when the weather chills, it makes it feel even more festive. So I hope wherever you are in the world that you're gearing up for your holidays, and I will see you again next time. Bye.